the next point is, so why are there 4 Gospels? Why do you think there are 4 Gospels? Why not 1? Why not 2? Why not 5 or 6 or 7? Yes? One moment.
Each one has a slightly different emphasis. Luke is telling the history and the background behind what's going on. John is emphasizing the lordship of Christ. Matthew is emphasizing the miracles of Christ and his ministry. And Mark is kind of synthesizing the other 3, or the other 2, John and Luke. Or I'm sorry, Matthew and Luke. So each one has a slightly different emphasis, and thus they're all giving different points of view. They're also telling not all exactly the same stories. There are certain parables that are told in one that aren't told in another, so they give a more full picture than each other. And also, I think John, writing later, was answering some concerns that were cropping up about Gnosticism, about was Jesus really God? Was he even really human? And so I think that John was actually writing in response to things that were, to heresies that were coming up later in that first century.
So I hear from you the authorial intent. They had different intent in why they wrote. Someone else? I would add to that point, and audience. Okay. Another reason why you think there are 4 and not 3 or 2 or 1? Yeah.
In the presence of 2 or 3 witnesses, let every word be confirmed. So God actually uses a multiplicity of witnesses to verify.
That the Old Testament principle of what is it called? Witness, having more than one witness. I actually didn't have that point in my notes, but thank you for adding it. 2 or 3 witnesses to confirm a matter. Yes, I think that's important. It's helpful. If we are going to say that this is the most significant event in not only in redemptive history, but just human history, it would be good for there to be more than one witness to what has taken place. Another? I think let me ask the question, why not 1? Why not just 1? All these other factors considered, why not 1? Why not just 1? Because of the impossibility of the task. You realize that though the Holy Spirit does understand the deep things of God, there is a limitation in man which is not there in the Holy Spirit. And so it would have been impossible for one man, I would say, to take up such a grand task of writing about the Lord. And so God, the Holy Spirit, used more than one man to communicate this truth. Now, of course, there are accounts or things which each of them emphasizes, and that's what we've talked about, their intent and audience. Those factors do come into consideration, but So you see, each of them has a different nuance. Not one person would have been able to write a concise gospel which would have captured all that God intended for us to have. And so the impossibility, and thus the impossibility of one man being able to do it. But then, and I think this last one is, and I think it's the foundation for all of them, the sovereignty of God over the issue. I mean, why did God create the world in 6 days and not one? It's not beyond God's power to do it in an instant, the snap of a finger. Jesus chose 12 men. He knew one of them was a devil. You read that in John 6:70. Have I not chosen you, the 12, and yet one of you is a devil? And then of those remaining 11, only 2 of them write a gospel. In the end, you have to say that this is down to the sovereignty of God. God did not want James, the brother of John, or James the other James who are amongst the apostles, to write a gospel. So it's down to God's plan of how His truth will come to us.